On or about July 21, 2026, the White House issued a directive partially waiving non-disclosure agreements for individuals with knowledge of unidentified anomalous phenomena. Coverage broke the following day. For a community that has spent 3 years arguing that secrecy agreements are the single largest obstacle to sworn testimony, that headline reads like a breakthrough. Read the fine print, and a different picture emerges. The waiver reportedly permits witnesses to speak to 2 entities, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office and the body the directive designates as PURSUE. It does not permit them to speak to journalists, to the public, or in open congressional session. That gap is the entire story. To understand what was granted, you have to understand what was blocked. On July 26, 2023, former intelligence officer David Grush told the House Oversight Committee he could not describe his most serious allegations in public. He repeated it, under oath, roughly a dozen times. The same wall appeared in November 2024, and again on September 9, 2025, when the Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets, chaired by Representative Anna Paulina Luna, heard from military witnesses who deferred repeatedly to classification and to signed agreements. The pattern was consistent. Not silence, constrained speech. Witnesses willing to talk, legally forbidden from finishing the sentence. The directive, as reported, does something narrow and specific. It tells cleared individuals that their existing non-disclosure obligations will not be enforced against them if they bring UAP-related information to designated government recipients. That is real. It removes a genuine fear of prosecution or clearance revocation for those 2 conversations. But here is the complication advocates moved past quickly. Section 1673 of the fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, signed in December 2022, already established a secure reporting mechanism and anti-reprisal protections for exactly this category of disclosure. ARRO opened that channel to current and former personnel on October 31, 2023. The directive restates more than it creates. This is the distinction that most coverage collapsed, and it matters enormously. A non-disclosure agreement is a contract. Classification is a statutory and regulatory regime. Waiving the first does nothing to the second. A witness released from Standard Form 312, who then describes classified program details to a reporter, still faces the Espionage Act, still faces Title 18, Section 798, still loses their clearance and their livelihood. Meanwhile, under Executive Order 13526, the President holds broad original authority to declassify. That authority was not exercised here, or at least not publicly. A waiver was issued instead. Those are very different instruments, chosen deliberately. Then come the exclusions, and they are the sharpest edge of the criticism. The directive reportedly does not reach non-disclosure agreements signed with private corporations. The federal government generally cannot unilaterally void a private contract, but it can indemnify or condition future contracts or direct its agencies to act. It did not. Second, reporting indicates carve-outs touching legacy programs. If accurate, that is significant, because legacy programs are precisely what Grush alleged in 2023. Decades-old, contractor-administered efforts allegedly shielded from congressional oversight. A waiver that excludes corporate agreements and historical compartments excludes most of the people whose testimony would actually move the record. Luis Elizondo, the former Pentagon official who ran a tip-related work and has since become the field's most visible insider voice, responded cautiously rather than triumphantly. His caution is informed by direct experience. His 2024 book, Imminent, went through the Defense Department's pre-publication review process, and he has publicly described fighting over material he says was cleared, then contested. Elizondo has consistently made a structural argument. Routing witnesses into a Defense Department office is not the same as informing the public, because the office answers to the same institutions the witnesses are testifying about. Welcoming a step forward while questioning its direction is not contradiction. It is precision. The most consequential confirmation came from Capitol Hill. Representative Eric Burlison of Missouri, a member of the House Oversight Committee and one of the more persistent Republican voices on this file, confirmed the ceiling remains in place. Whistleblowers still cannot speak publicly. That is not an opposition talking point. That is a member of the majority, sympathetic to the issue, telling his own constituency that the celebrated waiver does not produce open testimony. Burlison has previously described witnesses afraid of losing clearances, pensions, and careers. Nothing in this directive, by his own account, changes that calculation for a person weighing whether to go on the record. CyberNews framed the whole exercise bluntly as Kabuki theater, the appearance of movement, choreographed to relieve pressure without surrendering control. Advocacy accounts read it in the opposite direction. Any legal cover is meaningful. Sworn testimony to a statutory body creates a durable paper trail, and protected disclosures can generate Inspector General referrals and classified annexes that Congress can later fight to release. Both readings can be partially true. The honest assessment is that the directive's value depends entirely on outputs we cannot yet see, and the entities receiving that testimony are under no obligation to publish any of it. So watch for 4 things. Whether ARO or Pursue publishes anything attributable to newly waived witnesses. Whether the waiver is ever extended to contractor agreements. Whether an actual declassification order follows under Executive Order 13526. And whether a single witness testifies in open session who previously could not. Absent those, the July 2026 directive functions as a routing change, not a transparency measure, moving insider knowledge deeper into the compartment that already holds it, with a permission slip attached. Because disclosure was never about letting witnesses talk to the government. The government, allegedly, already knows.